Dictatorships don't erupt overnight. They grow slowly, feeding on fear and anger. They begin as whispers in the streets, as quiet doubts in the minds of ordinary people. Over time, these doubts and fears are stoked, turning uncertainty into anxiety, and anxiety into desperation. They take root when a nation feels lost, desperate for a way out. When daily life becomes a struggle, and the future seems bleak, people start searching for answers, any answers that might offer relief or hope. The descent into tyranny is marked by small compromises and ignored warnings. Each step seems minor, almost reasonable, but together they lead a society down a dangerous path. People don't choose dictatorship out of evil, but out of despair, when trusted systems fail and hope fades. In these moments, fear can outweigh reason, and the promise of stability becomes irresistible. In early 20th century Germany, defeat and humiliation after the Great War left a deep wound. The Treaty of Versailles imposed harsh penalties, fueling resentment and a sense of injustice that lingered in every corner of society. A shattered national identity made people vulnerable, searching for someone to blame. Economic collapse, political chaos, and social unrest created fertile ground for radical ideas to take hold. This is when the seeds of dictatorship sprout, nourished by despair. In the shadows of hardship, people become willing to listen to anyone who promises change. The future dictator arrives not as a conqueror, but as a savior, speaking to emotion, validating anger, and promising a return to greatness. He offers simple solutions to complex problems, and his words resonate with those who feel ignored. He offers certainty, even if built on lies. The crowd, hungry for hope, is eager to believe, and skepticism fades as desperation grows. This is the first step on the road to tyranny. What begins as hope for a better future can quickly become a march toward oppression. Understanding this process is crucial, not to excuse, but to recognize the warning signs. By studying how democracies falter, we can better protect our own freedoms. Only by recognizing them can we hope to prevent history from repeating. The seeds of dictatorship can be stopped, but only if we remain vigilant and remember the lessons of the past. Germany's defeat in World War I was a national trauma. The once proud nation found itself shattered, its people struggling to comprehend the scale of their loss. Soldiers returned home to a country in ruins, cities scarred by war, and a population gripped by despair. The sense of humiliation and hopelessness was overwhelming, casting a long shadow over everyday life. The Treaty of Versailles stripped the country of pride, territory, and hope. The war guilt clause forced Germans to accept sole responsibility for the conflict, a humiliation many refused to accept. The treaty's harsh terms redrew borders, took away colonies, and demanded impossible reparations. For many Germans, it felt like a betrayal by the world, and by their own leaders. Economic devastation followed. Reparations crippled the new Weimar Republic, and hyperinflation wiped out savings. Factories closed, jobs vanished, and the value of money evaporated almost overnight. Families, who had worked hard for generations, saw their life savings become worthless scraps of paper. By 1923, money was worthless. Poverty and hunger were everywhere. The Weimar government became synonymous with weakness and failure. People lined up for bread, burned banknotes for warmth, and watched as their dreams slipped away. The social fabric of Germany was unraveling. Political violence erupted. Extremists battled in the streets. Assassinations became common. Democracy seemed powerless in the face of chaos. Radical groups from both the left and right gained followers, promising to restore order or revolutionize society. The streets became battlegrounds for competing visions of Germany's future. People longed for order and strength, desperate for a way out. The middle class, once stable, was ruined. Families sold their possessions just to survive, and trust in the government evaporated. Many wondered if life would ever return to normal. The nation was broken, searching for hope. In this climate, the ground was perfectly prepared for radical change. People yearned for a leader who could restore dignity and stability, someone who promised a brighter future. Someone would soon offer a different path. one that would change the course of history forever. Just as Germany found fragile stability, the Great Depression struck. The 1929 crash shattered the economy, factories closed, businesses failed, and unemployment soared. By 1932, 6 million Germans were jobless. Hunger and poverty returned with a vengeance. Families lost homes, children went hungry. The social safety net collapsed. People felt abandoned by their government and the world. Despair settled over the nation, a sense that the future held only more suffering. The Weimar government was paralyzed, unable to respond. Faith in democracy evaporated. Endless debate seemed useless. In this vacuum, extreme voices gained traction. People were desperate for any leader who promised relief. The hunger for radical change grew. The stage was set for a new, dangerous force. Into this despair stepped Hitler and the Nazis. They offered a simple story. Germany's suffering was the result of betrayal and conspiracy. Blame was cast on the Weimar politicians, the Allies, and most insidiously, the Jews. This message transformed shame into anger, giving people a target for their frustration. Hitler's speeches were emotional performances, tapping into fear and resentment. The Nazis promised to restore pride, tear up Versailles, and rebuild Germany's power. They offered unity, a Volksgemeinschaft, a national community. Order was promised through disciplined stormtroopers, appealing to those exhausted by chaos. They vowed to crush communism and restore stability. The bargain was simple: give us power and we'll give you pride and work. For millions, it was irresistible. The promise was seductive and deadly. The Nazi message spread through relentless propaganda. Joseph Goebbels understood that shaping feelings mattered more than facts. Posters, stark and emotional, plastered every wall. Heroes and villains drawn in bold lines. Radio became a weapon. Hitler's voice reached every home. Cheap radios ensured Nazi ideology was everywhere. Broadcasts included music, plays, and news, all reinforcing the party line. Rallies became theatrical spectacles. Nuremberg's sea of flags and torchlight parades overwhelmed the senses. Attendees felt both insignificant and part of something immense. The goal dissolved individual identity into the collective will. Propaganda created an echo chamber. Nazi ideas became inescapable. Rational thought was bypassed. Emotion ruled. The groundwork for total control was laid. Hitler didn't seize power. He was handed it. In January 1933, President Hindenburg appointed him chancellor. Conservative elites thought they could control Hitler, using him to crush democracy and communism. They underestimated him, seeing his extremism as mere posturing. They believed he'd moderate once in office. Instead, they opened the door to a predator. Their plan backfired catastrophically. Hitler believed only in power, not rules or tradition. The so-called devil's bargain destroyed the very elites who enabled him. Hitler didn't break down the doors of the state, he was given the keys. The guardians of democracy became its gravediggers. The consequences would be catastrophic. Once in power, Hitler moved swiftly to destroy democracy. The Reichstag fire became a pretext for emergency powers. Civil liberties were suspended. Opposition was crushed. The Nazis unleashed terror, arresting, beating, and imprisoning opponents. The press was silenced. Fear ruled the streets. The Enabling Act gave Hitler the power to rule by decree. Intimidation and manipulation secured its passage. The Reichstag voted itself into irrelevance. Democracy was dismantled legally, not by force. The Weimar Republic ended, not with a coup but with a signature. Germany's fate was sealed. Nazi power was just the beginning. The regime pursued its ideology with ruthless efficiency. Jews were targeted first. Boycotts, dismissals, and the Nuremberg laws stripped them of rights. Other groups, Roma, disabled people, homosexuals, and dissenters, were also persecuted. The state enforced a brutal hierarchy, deciding who was worthy of life. Domestic terror escalated to war. The invasion of Eastern Europe unleashed genocide. The Holocaust, the industrial murder of 6 million Jews, was the ultimate horror. Millions more perished in the Nazi quest for racial purity. This was a descent into darkness that defies comprehension. It was the monstrous outcome of hate-made law. It ended in ruins, Berlin in rubble, millions dead, and the promise of a 1,000-year Reich reduced to ashes. The city, once vibrant and full of life, became a graveyard of shattered dreams and broken families. The cost of blind ambition and unchecked hatred was paid in the lives of innocents, in the silence that followed the bombs. The national awakening led only to shame and devastation. Hopes for greatness dissolved into guilt and mourning, as survivors wandered through the ruins, searching for loved ones and meaning in the aftermath. The journey from hope to horror is a warning. It shows how quickly a nation's pride can be twisted into cruelty, and how easily dreams can become nightmares. Democracy is fragile, easily eroded by fear and false promises. When trust in institutions fades, and when lies are repeated often enough, even the strongest republic can fall. Desperate people can be seduced by dangerous lies. In times of hardship, hope can be weaponized, and suffering can be exploited by those who seek power at any cost. Ordinary people, neighbors, friends, became complicit, looking away or accepting the regime's crimes. The line between victim and perpetrator blurred as silence became a shield for evil. The silence of the many is the most chilling lesson. It is not only the actions of the few, but the inaction of the many that allows darkness to spread. We must confront this darkness to understand it. Only by facing the truth can we hope to prevent history from repeating itself. The silence of history is filled with the voices of the lost. Each artifact, each name, is a reminder of lives stolen and futures erased. It warns us against charismatic leaders and the power of propaganda. Words can build or destroy, and unchecked rhetoric can lead to catastrophe. It warns us not to look away from injustice. Indifference is never neutral. It is a choice that shapes the world. Germany's fall is not just history, it's a permanent warning. The scars remain, etched into the landscape and memory of a nation. The lesson is written in blood for all time. We must remember and we must speak, so that silence never screams again.